Who's handling this? Jeremy?
No, well, I can handle it.
Yeah, okay.
12.1, Council, 12.1 is council appointments, and as we noted in the report, we don't need to make council appointments unless there's changes for most of the committees and liaison. The Okanagan Regional Library Board, they have requested reaffirmation of the appointments. And also, I noted that the CIMIA, which is the Southern Okanagan Municipal Employers Association, I assumed the role on the board after Lori Coates, who was the council designated rep on the board. But I realized that we hadn't had a conversation with council about it, and it is a board that it's a historical board, and we talk about the benefits and the cost of the benefits, and the plans, extended benefit plans for staff. But there are municipalities on that board that the elected officials are the representatives, so I just wanted to bring it forward to council to make sure that you were aware of it. I have been sitting on the board and I attend the board meetings, but so we're looking to either appoint all the same people or make any changes.
Can I just note that in the second motion, it should say Southern Interior, not Southern Okanagan.
Yeah.
Oh, right, that was a mistake, so, yes. We'll change that if that motion comes forward.
Councillor Peak?
I'll bring that, both sections of that resolution forward, 1 and 2.
Okay, thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Carlson? Any other discussion? I think we're good. You're good with that, Councillor Carlson? Good. Okay, all in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you. 12.2.
Tammy Rothery.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As discussed in your package, there was a grant opportunity that sort of came up a little bit unexpectedly. Staff had been planning to apply to this grant program in the spring, as we had understood that the funding was going to be extended until 2020, but a communique came out right before Christmas saying that they decided to close the funding and that applications had to be in by January the 8th. So staff quickly worked to get an application together, which is why you're hearing about it, sort of the cart after the horse, if you will. So the information is in your package, and we're asking for a resolution to support the application that was made. Of course, if it doesn't pass, we can pull the application, but we're hoping that you'll support it.
So, Councillor Barton.
I'll move the motion as written.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Holmes, seconder. Any other discussion? Like this, Councillor
Just have a quick question. How much is the grant application for?
So the total project cost is $240,000. We're applying through this program for $175,000, and then another $25,000 would be through FortisBC's program, and the remaining $40,000 would be our contribution, but about $18,000 of that could be staff time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, all in favor? Motion carries, none opposed, thank you. Street banner program, 12.3. Who's dealing with that? Angelique.
Angelique and I.
Okay.
Do you want to introduce it, Angelique?
Thank you. As you know, the street banner program has been administered for the last number of years by the Summerland Community Arts Council, and they recently came forward with a request to have council consider a change to the way the program's been delivered. And primary in the change of focus, the street banners would be sponsored and have business names at the bottom of them in about a 3-inch high lettering. So the request coming forward to council is to consider a change to the way the banner program is run and using that administrative form to change it.
Just a note on that, there's actually a lot more discussion we can have with the Arts Council on ways to deliver the banner program, and it would be our intent, the intent tonight is to really focus on, are you even interested in exploring banners with business names on our banners, and if not, we would go back and talk to the Arts Council and determine if there's other ways that we can do this program that would work. But we needed that direction on this is only the first step, and then we'll come back with more reporting after that. As you can see, the staff did make a recommendation to deny the request for using street names. Typically, banners that are up aren't used for advertising purposes.
Councillor Barco.
I was a little surprised to see that the staff's recommendation was not to support that idea. It seems to me that the banners are fairly large, and 3 inches across the bottom is not, a particularly large portion of it taken up by the sponsor's name. And along with that, I've often thought that the downtown business people should be contributing more for their own benefit of the downtown. A good example is a few years ago where some really enterprising citizens decorated for Halloween all of downtown, and it made it look great. And the only people that really benefited, other than the people that came and looked at it, were the merchants. And yet none of the merchants really carried that idea forward, and those volunteers weren't going to keep going. So I think this is one way that they can contribute to the downtown and the decoration of the downtown, unless people think that that would be totally ugly and not a good idea.
I think that's not really the concern. It's about policy regarding that's advertising on what amounts to communities, I guess, community signage. But essentially, for example, on our signage out on the highway, much as I would like to try and have businesses be able to advertise, what's in town, we actually can't do that. So that's part of that. Is there more explanation?
Well, that's in policy. I think Mr. Stockton can speak to it from a planning perspective.
Yes, so from a planning perspective, it's a community beautification program.
Yeah.
So the concern when you start putting business names on them is you're somewhat taking away from the principle of it, that it's community benefit. It's to make the community more beautiful. It's to make the community more attractive. And as the CEO mentioned, it's not necessarily that we have concern about the program. It's just maybe there's another way that we can still see it supported that doesn't require us to have business names on the banners. So traditional business sponsorship in municipalities is around things like arenas, where there's traditional signage on the boards, for example. And sometimes you'll see other advertisements within aquatic centers and so forth. But to have it on a community beautification program, it becomes a bit of a question from a land use perspective on what are you doing with your public infrastructure? Are you then going to put stickers on things that businesses can advertise? And so this is more like about community beautification, and where do you go from here as a policy if you begin to allow it on banners? Are you going to sponsor flower baskets and other things like that in the community?
I think that's a good point, and banner programs are big in many communities. The communities, as you just used the example of the flower pots, many communities, as we do, spend quite a bit of money for investment on the flower decorations, and the banner programs are generally linked into that. We really, ours is just an in-kind contribution, the staff time of hanging them and everything up at this point in time. We don't have it built into our budget, but I think that's the question, is whether or not, if it has to be, is that the place for it, rather than going down the road of that kind of sponsorship of them.
Councillor Traynor.
Is the Arts Council asking for business sponsorship because they don't have enough money to run the program anymore?
The banner program has a cost attached to it.
Right.
So is
And
that why
that
then?
it would be to cover those costs.
But that's
Okay.
what we're saying, is that there's other, we purposely didn't have further conversations with them or with the chamber or with other, to kind of come up with a creative idea, because we needed guidance on this alone, and then we can look at what the alternatives might be for an amended program where
Okay.
there's funding
So
involved.
it's, okay, I just was confused on whether it was a capacity issue for them or whether it was a funding issue.
Yeah.
Because if they got more funding, then could it stay as a public program?
They still don't want to do the same program that they're doing now
Okay.
with it. It's too much work for them. And then,
Okay.
the bigger question for council is going to be, if the Arts Council doesn't want to do it, is there somebody else that does want to do that? But again, that's sort of the next step from.
Okay, and I have one final follow-up then. If businesses were to have their name on it, would the Arts Council still be looking after it? Like, would they then, if
Well,
they?
it's their proposal.
Okay, so they would, okay, then they'd have, okay, fair enough.
Councillor Peak.
As a liaison for the Arts Council, they are still interested in delivering this program.
Mhm.
So I'm pleased
Okay.
to hear that there's going to be more discussion, because they would do a fee for service. Yes, they need some money to deliver the service. It could be over 2 years, $2,500 a year. That would get the program going in a different way, because they're finding the volunteer painting difficult, and they want to support the cultural and creative and the beautification, as our planner was talking about. So they're looking at a way of making it work. One of the things was sponsorship to provide those funds. That's not the easiest way to do things either, but that was one thought. Come back to the actual resolution, which is using sponsorship on banners. I understand what staff are saying, and I actually can support that. Although I could make the argument that the banners belong to, the banners are the Arts Council's, and therefore it's their banners that the sponsorship's going on, although they're being hung on public amenities, which are poles. But in a general concept, I would support the staff's recommendation to deny the sponsorship on banners, because it does open the door for other opportunities which maybe don't fit. So I think the practice of policy that doesn't allow it means to be consistent about your beautification. So I certainly support that. As the liaison, I would like to have a solution to the difficulty that the Arts Council is finding in delivering this program, whether it's a fee for service with them or whatever. So I would like that discussion to continue. And I know they were surprised they hadn't been notified that the report was going to deny. So it would have been nice for them to know in advance that was going to be denied. That would have just been a good communication thing. But those are two separate pieces, and I certainly understand the staff making that recommendation. So I appreciate the work that was done.
And to speak about sponsorship, in our conversation with them when we're looking at creative ideas on how we could do it, or sponsorship isn't out of the question either. It's just sponsorship on the sign. There's lots of ways of doing sponsorship and acknowledging contributions, if that's the road that we go down as well. So the absolute intent in this is to now engage in robust conversations with the Arts Council to find a workable solution for them. And we've already had some good ideas and some good conversation.
And if I may, before I leave this, I mean, they're looking for a way of doing it this year. So we're looking for something with some fairly tight time frames on it.
Right. And I do understand, I do believe that the Arts Council was informed of that the motion was to deny.
We did have
Yes, I thought so.
I have spoken to them since as well, but
Councillor Barkle?
If the idea of the banners is for the beautification of the downtown, just like the flowers and such, is it a requirement that all the banners be original hand-painted one-offs? If they don't want to do it, could we just get for $1,000 a bunch of banners?
Well, we could, but we do have the Arts Council delivering the program. And so right now, while they're still interested, we're going to look, and that is something that they're looking at, is they're not looking at doing individual ones anymore. They're looking at doing, changing their program. So, but we don't want to get into the details too much of what they're going to do, but they are looking at changing that.
Councillor Holmes?
I'm a bit bemused, Councillor Speak's comment that the Arts Council banner I had a conversation with Davis Finnis quite a few years ago, who was expressing quite a bit of frustration over that the district at the day wasn't being cooperative in putting up the banners and saying that they're not the district banner, they're not and they're the Arts Council's banners, so why should we put them up? And the Arts Council argument was time at the day is it's not the Arts Council's banners, it's not the district's banners, it's the community's banners. And that's, I think that's what we have to think of. It's the community. It's not theirs or theirs. It's what makes the community work. And I think the Arts Council's plan of what they want to do is a really good one. I understand their frustrations that they've been having of trying to get this project continuing. And so the idea of having local artists and having really beautiful banners that can be permanent ones that we rotate, that we bring out every year the same way we bring out the Remembrance Day banners, which have been really successful. If we have something like that and we're showcasing local artists, I think it'd be a really boon to the community. And so the only way is figure out how do we pay for it all. And that's what the Arts Council is think. That's how they came up with the idea of having corporate business sponsors. But I agree with the staff report that you don't want to go down that road of having business sponsorship on certain types of public infrastructure and pieces, and so I think we just need to work with the Art Council and figure out a way to make this work, and because it's a really good idea and it's going to really improve the look of the community.
So would you like to bring a resolution forward?
Sure. Can I add something?
You can if you like.
I guess the problem I have with this resolution is a bit negative sounding.
I just want to alert council, we are reaching our time frame.
Okay,
so we're going to
it
have to move along.
It won't be
We're gonna have
long.
to
It
move
won't
the
be long.
resolution.
Just let me bring the resolution forward.
Okay.
So I move that the request from the Summerland Community Arts Council to replace the current banner program with one which includes sponsor business names on the street banners be denied, and that staff work with the Arts Council to find an alternative solution. Yeah.
Seconder, please. Councillor Peak, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries, none opposed, thank you. So, council, what's your wish here? Are we able to finish this in time?
We only have one thing left.
Yeah, just go.
Okay, well, let's go then. 12.4, Mr. Svetich.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the attached report provides a proposed timeline for the 2018 to 2022 financial plan, which was circulated to council about 2 weeks ago. As noted in the schedule, budget discussions with council will commence over the next few months, with the proposed open house scheduled for March 22nd. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, council, someone like to bring that the resolution forward? Councillor Peak, thank you.
I'll bring that forward.
Thank you. Councillor Hunt, seconding. All in favor?
Just a question.
I have one too.
Okay. Councillor Booth, then Councillor Barkle.
May 14th is the budget meeting to adopt the financial plan. I wouldn't have to be here for that, right? Because I'm away.
As long as there's quorum, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Councillor Barkle.
Last year, I was asking about getting the budget binder in an electronic format, and there was no promises made, but an endeavor that maybe it might be a possibility. Is it going to be possible this year?
We weren't really planning on providing that amount of detail. It was going to be more of a high-end budget presentation with questions that council could ask.
We have upcoming meeting, we have an upcoming budget meeting we haven't had any meetings to discuss what it's going to look like yet, and what David and I haven't even talked one time about what the budget's going to look like. So we think we have something scheduled coming up
This
Thursday, and we can talk about it, and we can see, and we can keep your thoughts in mind when we're talking to see what we can come up with.
Wasn't looking for any more
Yeah.
detail than what's in
just electronic.
our
Yeah.
binders of past
Right.
years. Yeah.
If the binders can't, if it's less, there's information in there that's not particularly relevant, and if it's less complex than electronic is, the way we did the binders last year, the answer would still be no, it's not going to come electronically. But if we can streamline how we're doing it, then they would certainly be able to come electronically. So we'll inform you once we've had a chance to meet and discuss the recommended approach.
Okay, we've got a mover and a seconder. All in favor? Motion carries, none opposed, thank you. Mr. Strachan, new business, 14.1 bylaws.
So this is the application that was for public hearing this evening for 523 Stoner Street. This is consideration of third reading of the bylaw.
Hey, Council, any quick questions of Mr. Strachan? Councillor Peak.
In regards to the letter received from Ron and Linda Toker, they have some concerns around where the driveway will come in from and losing parking spaces. Could I perhaps have some comments from the planner on that?
So they've indicated a concern with the access for the proposed future home, which is from Stoner, and that it would lose a street parking stall on Stoner Street. And the preference would be to have the driveway come off of Woods Avenue. They're both dead-end roadways on this particular road structure, so both Woods Avenue and Stoner are. They've asked that they be restricted to having their driveway only off Woods. But either way, they're going to lose a street parking stall that's within that area, so it's not something that we generally would regulate. Our bylaws leave it open to allow for it off one side or the other. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Then I understand that the engineers will be able to make that decision.
Okay, somebody like to, Councillor Trainer?
I just have a question. We're just voting on going from our SD3 to our SD1. Is that correct?
That's
For
correct.
this one? Was there a variance that was asked for as well?
Variance will come forward to council
That's
after.
okay, thanks. That's what I thought. Thanks.
Okay, we have a mover, Councillor Carlson.
I will move that zoning bylaw amendment 523 Stoner Street, bylaw 2017-036 be read a third time.
Seconder, Councillor Peak, thank you. Anything else? All in favor? Motion carries, none opposed, thank you very much. 14.2.
The final item here is a zoning bylaw amendment for Wharf Street. Council granted third reading to this particular bylaw, and it's come back to council for consideration of adoption.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion for adoption, Councillor Carlson.
I'll move that zoning bylaw amendment for 905 Wharf Street, bylaw 2017-035 be adopted.
Seconder, please. Councillor Holmes, thank you.
Can we just clarify
Yeah.
back to Stoner Street that that was third reading and that consideration for adoption would come, it's MOT approval?
Correct.
So MOT approval is required, it'll come back next meeting.
Okay. Okay, we had a mover and a seconder on 14.2. All in favor? Motion carries, thank you. Okay, moving into council reports, keeping advised of our time frame, council. Councillor Trainer,
I have nothing to report tonight.
thank you. Councillor Barkwell,
Christmas was good, Santa came.
good. He took you to Hawaii. Councillor Booth.
I had a few RDOS updates, but I will maybe distribute them through
Thank you.
email. Just to note that the Chamber of Commerce nominations are open for the Business Awards and the Community Awards. And I just wanted to let people know that, for people that know her, I think maybe everyone here does, Marge Spina has lost her battle with cancer. She was a longtime counselor in Kamloops with the she was a school trustee. She was with the Thompson-Nicola Regional District. She was with the Thompson Regional Hospital District. She was at Silga. She worked. She was an executive at UBCM. She was a huge advocate for food bank and people with disabilities and seniors. Her memorial service is Saturday, January the 20th in Kamloops. I'm planning on attending, so if anyone wants to carpool with me, you're welcome to join me.
Okay. Councillor Carlson.
A couple of things. The CAO or the CEO of the Okanagan Regional Library, Stephanie Hall, has resigned so that she can go and sail around the world. So that, I believe, is effective March. So the ORL will be doing a competition for a new CEO starting very soon. And the yeah, she's done a really good job of leading the library and the libraries into the future. So it'll be too bad to see her go, but I have a feeling that would be a bit life-changing to go on an adventure like that. So it's kind of neat that she has that opportunity. And then tomorrow is Climate Action Committee meeting, and it's in my calendar, so I hope I can make it and I won't end up missing it or forgetting about it. I plan to be there.
Okay, I think the CAO had a comment.
Oh, well, you can finish the
Okay,
committee.
Councillor Holmes?
No report.
Councillor Peak?
I just want to urge all the public to make nominations on the Chamber Awards, both the Business Awards and the Community Awards. You don't have to be a business to make a nomination.
CAO.
Earlier in the agenda on unfinished business, we were talking about recommendations. There was a recommendation made this morning at the committee of the whole meeting to support the Kettle Valley Railway in their quest to have regulatory changes made for a Chase the Ace initiative with in partnership with the Legion. And council, just to formalize that, should consider turning that into a resolution here, passing it as a resolution. It's your recommendation now.
Okay, Councillor Peak.
As liaison to that, the KVR, could I bring that motion forward from
Yes.
our previous discussion?
I'll second.
Seconder? Thank you, Councillor Peak. All in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Okay, we're closing in here. Question period.
Well, you either have to close the meeting or
Yeah.
you can extend it.
Okay. Council, what's your wish here?
Let's do an extending motion for for us to continue.
You sure?
Continue.
I'll second it.
Okay. We have to have, it has to be unanimous, a motion to continue the meeting? Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Okay, moving ahead to the public question period, and it's where the public has a opportunity to speak to council and address their concerns. You have 2 minutes in each situation for a total of 50. Yes, where's the mic? Oh, there it is. Are you gonna time? Okay.
1 minute. Thank you very much, Mayor, Council, for all the work you do on Banks Crescent. Be very much appreciated. Tonight I present you with an additional 53 signatures, which brings our total to 3,159 signatures opposing this development. 2,599 are of Summerlanders. And please, Mayor, Council, it's in your hands now, but let Summerland be mapped out and shaped by its residents, not the developer. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Chris Hassig. I live on Faircrest. I'm a brand new resident to Summerland, and I feel fortunate to be able to attend your council meeting tonight. I've been reading up on the Banks Crescent development, and I've been listening to all the discussions. And my question is a simple one to the council. Why is the council even considering building a large condo development in a land area with such considerable risks? And these risks will ultimately cost the taxpayers, and I'm one of these taxpayers. And my concerns are the risks to the freshwater supply, to the fish hatchery, with the turbidity risk to the water table from excavation, heavy trucks, and lack of storm drainage. We talked about it tonight, the risk of horizontal movement, a vibration down the slope, and the ensuing sloughing of the ground silts. And then the high development cost of road infrastructure to this, servicing this development on Sully Road and Latimer Road. A $300,000 amenity contribution is insignificant from the developer. And then also, once construction begins, if it's deemed too risky to continue, then we're left with a mess that taxpayers have to clean up. So I'm addressing this question to all of the councillors and Mayor Waterman.
Thank you. We're not in a discussion back and forth. You brought your concern forward, and I thank you for that.
So when would my question be answered?
You have been listening to all the discussions at this point, and we'll have more opportunities when you present concerns at the public hearing, and then we'll have, after that, we will have discussions at council table if we go to third reading.
Okay.
Thank you.
Linda Green at 5709 Century Street. I have a question about the public hearing that's going to be scheduled. While there are still Freedom of Information requests pending, is it possible for council to actually schedule a public hearing? Because we need that information before we can ask pertinent questions at the public hearing.
The only, I mean, we'll certainly make an attempt to have any Freedom of Information requests finished by the time. There's nothing legislatively stopping it. What would happen is if anything that isn't known now comes out at after the public hearing, then it could change. Then there could be an effect on the public hearing. But there's nothing legislative that says that you can't have an outstanding FOI request.
Okay, but then if the Freedom of Information request has information that's pertinent to the development after the public hearing, it's not considered, is it?
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that if there was something that was pertinent that isn't knowing now, that we're not expecting anything. With all the requests that we've had or that we have, there's nothing that we're expecting that's not already known.
No.
So if there was anything that did come out afterwards, then it would affect the fact that there had been a public hearing. But, I mean, that the public hearing would likely have to be redone if it was a significant new information.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But we will endeavor to have any of them done before a public hearing was held.
Karen Walker, 6500 McDonald Place. Good evening, Mayor and Council. It is on record that our mayor stated if the hatchery does not approve of this development, the project will be stopped. If the hatchery again states they are against this development and cannot support it, will our mayor and districts stay true to their word? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann. I spoke to Jeremy Deniger earlier today, and I was asking him if I could have the number of Summerland residents that were for the development. I wasn't asking for names because I know they were submitted in confidence, but I was wondering if he has had time to provide me with that information tonight.
I can speak to that. The district has not actually received those letters. We've simply received notice that these letters exist. I believe there's an anticipation of receiving them either later this week or next week.
Okay.
And
That's
Dean
what I
may have
wanted
more
to
to
know.
say.
No letters will be received that aren't public letters, so that's, and the developer was advised of that if we had received the letters, they would be part of the public record, so we haven't received them.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Happy New Year. My name is Sandy Paulson, 6502 Solly Road. I have a question that is just surrounding the actual drawings and the now latest current plans for the development. It's very difficult to get a perspective on the actual drawings that are on the website. Is council or are council and staff prepared to provide in a larger scale the most current drawings and have them on display before the public hearing? And will it include cross-sections and elevation levels from the lake to provide a more comprehensive and realistic perspective?
Thank you. Dean?
If we certainly could provide, we have full-scale drawings. They're PDF format, so it would be just a matter of printing them and making them available. So we certainly could do that. We do not have a perspective from the lake, but we certainly could, if council wished, request that from the applicant. They have 3D modeling.
Okay, thank you.
So is that something we can expect a response on, or at the next council meeting, and/or where would those be available for viewing and review?
We would likely keep those boards at Development Services and would be available for the public to view whenever they wished. They're full-size drawings, so they're 2 feet by 4 feet.
Okay, and the answer to the 3D drawings or the perspective drawings, elevation levels?
We'll make that request to the applicant. We
And
have
then-
not received a drawing that shows it from a vertical perspective to show the full building. That angle from the lake shore, or from the lake, we don't have a drawing that represents that at this point.
So to get an answer to that, would it be helpful if I put that request in writing to the district?
I think just making it to Dean now is probably adequate.
Okay, I'm wondering the best avenue to follow up is all.
You're more than welcome to give me a shout tomorrow afternoon. I should know by then.
Oh, perfect. Thank you very much. I have one more question. I'll be very quick. It's my understanding that approximately 40% of the property taxes collected go to the provincial school levy, which is set by the province. So of the approximate $429,000 of tax revenue that the municipality would receive should this development go through, then 40% of that would go to the school levy. Am I correct?
No, I don't believe
Can
so.
somebody clarify?
Are you you're speaking to the 429,000 that was in the financial report that was provided to council about a month ago?
Yes, and it was also just recently published again in social media, Castanet article.
Okay, so that 429,000 was specific to municipal taxes. It had no school taxes, no RDOS taxes. It was specific to District of Summerland taxes. So those are the funds that we would be receiving.
It's a common way when we're calculating taxes to do the municipal portion only, and then the RDOS portion, the BC assessment portion, the school tax portion, that's in addition to that, but we just report on the portion that comes to the municipality.
So these numbers that were recently quoted are anticipated municipal tax revenue?
That's right.
Thank you. Those are my questions.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Mrs. Wong.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Donna Wall, Latimer Avenue, Summerland. According to the BC Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, local governments have a legislative requirement to involve citizens in their decision-making process. Local governments contest the electorate's support for an action by providing the opportunity for electors to petition against a proposal. If less than 10% are against the proposal, then the government can proceed. With over 30% of Summerland's voting electorate opposing the development of Banks Crescent, why is council, in all good conscience, still proceeding forward with this project?
We're going through the process, and we've had first reading, second reading, and we're continuing to go through.
The process for a rezoning and an OCAP amendment is the process of reviewing the application and public hearing and then having the discussion. It's not an assent process. It's not an alternative approval process where the 10% comes into play. It's not a referendum. It's a rezoning application. The public involvement has been the input they've received so far, the input they'll receive at the public hearing, and then ultimately if they pass or deny the application. So essentially what they're doing right now is the public process. And to do the public process would be to do the public hearing and then have an open mind at that point in time, take all the information they've received to date, everything they hear at the public hearing, have their debate and make their decision.
If we have over 30% of our registered voters have already said and signed that they're against it, aren't we kind of just wasting all our taxpayers' dollars continuing the process? Why are we not shutting it down? It doesn't make financial sense, much less any other sense, to even keep going, does it?
Well, it's actually, there's petitions of various kinds. There was one for the compost facility. There's been other petitions throughout various councils. And as our CAO just stated, we are not mandated to need to do an AAP, which we have done in the past, for example, for the RCMP station, I believe. And that was successful, and we had to go to referendum. And so, but that was a situation where there was a particular project where you had, if you exceeded a borrowing period of 5 years for that particular proposal, you had to go to our AAP.
Yeah,
So
no, I'm
that's not what we're doing here.
No, I'm not asking about a referendum. I'm just
I
saying,
know.
if we've got 3,100 plus people against this development, I mean, that's 3,100 voters.
And
that
council
don't want
takes
it.
that into consideration during their debate. A petition is always only one piece of the information. Each one of the council will decide how much they want to go through the petition, verify that, we know that there's more than one name, the name may be on more than one. It represents a large number, but it's one piece of the information, and it's one piece of the whole amount of information that council will be, and anyone could argue that maybe it's wasting taxpayers' money. Another person can argue that that is public process, and that until the process is finished, it's not being fair to finish it. And there's really not too much, that is good debate on policy that people can have very different opinions on.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Good evening, Happy New Year, Mayor, Council.
How are we doing?
I'd like to briefly build on the very good discussion that you all had just a little bit ago. With just a couple of comments, if you will allow me, please. First of all, the aquifer indeed is not mapped. There's no doubt about it. We all know that now, and the depth is unknown. And this is, in my opinion, the biggest concern. And mapping an aquifer in an area this large is a very, very expensive affair. You'd have to drill controlled wells, all sorts of things. And that's really not on the radar, because if you do penetrate an aquifer, you don't really, particularly if it's under pressure, which this one is, you don't really know what's going to happen. Another very important issue, I think, is the Bristow Valley is the funnel, you probably know this, but it's the funnel for most of the aquifer, which extends far into Prairie Valley. And the importance of that is, if something would go wrong in the Bristow Valley, the liability is probably going far beyond the Bristow Valley and might actually stop the water flow for people that are agriculturally active in Prairie Valley. So it's a much bigger problem than just Bristow Valley. Also, what I felt was very important, I also read the Golder report in gory detail, actually. It is recognized by Golder that the depth of the aquifer is related to the risk. In other words, the shallower the aquifer, the higher the risk. And they haven't used these words, but very clearly in the last paragraph, but even in the background, they're recognizing that the aquifer is not mapped and not known. And so that is really the big question. And if the aquifer would be shallower, okay, at the bottom, as they say, shallower to the bottom of the excavation than what Pito and Glen Rock are saying. They're assuming it might be 20 meters, but they don't know. If it is shallower, it will impact things like load capacity, soil stability, slope stability, turbidity, and very importantly, and somebody brought up that point, is shear stress. This laboratory test, very simple, with a glass of water you can do, is you add some water underneath the glass, it starts drifting like crazy.
I think, Mr. Jonkers, thank you. We've reached our time frame. So appreciate your comments. Thank you. We've also reached our 15 minutes, I'm afraid, and we're well past the normal time. So thank you. Any comments questions from the press?
Is it my understanding that at the January 22nd meeting, there will be a council of the whole meeting held to discuss the amenity contributions?
Council did not pass that motion specifically for an amenity contribution discussion. We'll probably be checking with council between now and then to see if they want that added on there. They didn't pass a motion, they had that discussion. Yeah, yeah, so it's uncertain at this point in time.
Okay. Council, going to have a motion for adjournment, please? Councillor Holmes, Councillor Carlson, all in favor? Thank you.